What a week, one that no one would have predicted. A whole group of senior political leaders, the president among them, coming out of a four-day meeting with really unremarkable pronouncements about a whole range of problems facing them, but also the country they are supposed to be running. The next morning, we wake up to the news that we have record high unemployment numbers, and all our leaders could say was, we are concerned. I suppose it all made sense when yesterday there was no progress to report on regarding the implementation of last year's Job Summit resolutions. Some of the country's biggest municipalities, Tshwane, eThekwini, Joburg, are facing crises of one form or the other. And as this week ends, hopefully, so too will be the indifference, the meekness and timidity of those we've given the responsibility of leading us. Among my guests tonight is a senior public servant as well as a small entrepreneur, both of whom find themselves in the middle of the latest storm, the chaos that erupted yesterday in the Joburg CBD. A running battle between police and vendors in the Johannesburg CBD has raised concerns about policing and the rule of law. Law enforcement authorities were clamping down on counterfeit goods in the city, but vendors accused police of abusing their powers. Gauteng SAPS Commissioner Elias Mawela joins me now. Commissioner, good evening. Thank you very much for your time. Now, you were not there personally. But from what your men and women on the ground have since told you, what sparked yesterday's, chain of events?
Thank you, Vuyo, and good evening to you and your viewers at home. What sparked the situation yesterday? Our police officers, they got an intelligence to say counterfeit goods smuggled into the country to the value of 10 million rand is stored in one of the premises in that particular street. So police officers, they went there to go and raid that premises. And police officers, they've done their groundwork, they've obtained the search warrant, they've obtained all those things which are required for them to conduct that kind of a search. By the look of things, it seems those who were storing this thing, they knew that the police will be following them. And hence, when the police, they came here, they were met with resistance from these people around that particular area in a coordinated manner. To us, the way they have responded to the police when they were approaching that space, it clearly tells us that they look like people who knew that police were coming. They were anticipating that the police, they will definitely come to check.
And then the chaos.
The chaos started.
Erupted. Now, what you've just told me is actually very interesting, because if you listen to the Hawkers organization, Achieve, they say that police are actually, there are some corrupt police who are working with these people, and that they, as hawkers, are actually don't know who is selling counterfeit goods and who is selling, legit stuff. But the police do know. But because the police are not doing their jobs, they then now find themselves caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, the issue of corrupt official, it's something which I cannot deny. It is happening out there, and it is proven because we have arrested a lot of our own who were involved in corrupt activities. Including here in Johannesburg, we've arrested a lot of police officers who were involved in corrupt activities. What I can urge the workers who are trading in that particular space is that They need to engage us so that we can sit with them. You know, we understand what is their concern so that they can work with us. Earlier in the week, before this thing happened, some of the business community around that space, they came to my office. We had a discussion whereby they committed themselves to say, we are prepared to can work with the police. We will assist the police even to can identify those who are dealing with counterfeit goods. Reason being, the regular raids by the police, it affects their business. Because when the police, they come there, everything comes to standstill and it affects their business. So they were more than prepared to can work with us, and we agreed on that. So I also urged the hawkers in that particular space that they must feel free to can engage us, and then together, working together, we'll be able to can uproot the corrupt officials, and they will be in the position to can know who are the genuine cops who are coming to do their work.
Because, I mean, it does kind of make sense. I'm not saying it's necessarily the truth. That, I mean, if, as you say, the police realized that those people had intelligence, knew before the raid that, you know, something like this, the raid was in fact going to happen, and they had clearly positioned their people so that they put up resistance, then it does suggest that someone within the police, or at least who has knowledge of what the police were going to do, did actually inform them.
You're so correct. Hence, I'm saying that we cannot deny that. And one other thing is that the hawkers, we want to assure them that, you know, we want to work with them, and we want to focus on those who are distributing these counterfeit goods. And we also want to focus on the bigger fish, those who are supplying these counterfeit goods. I think working together with the workers there, small business, will be in the position to can deal with those who are bringing in counterfeit goods. And as a result, the small businesses which are operating there, they will be in the position to can go and buy their merchandise, maybe from the local producers in the country, or they can also buy the legit product within the country.
Now, earlier today, the mayor of Joburg took to Twitter, and this is what he said, and I quote from the tweet: "I'm deeply hurt and devastated to wake up this morning to learn that not a single criminal is arrested after the blatant disregard of our country's laws yesterday in the inner city. I would have expected the city to have been closed off and all criminals behind bars by now."
Yeah, it is his view. Unfortunately, I don't share his view. In that we do our work in a systematical manner. Our arrest is not for PR exercise. Our arrest is to ensure that those whom we bring into our cells, surely we know that when we present them before the courts will be able to can proceed with those cases, not just to can, because of an incident happened, then we go on the rampage and arrest whoever so that we please the people. We cannot do that. We want to do a thorough job, and so that when we present our case in court, we present the quality work to the magistrate.
Now, excuse me, yesterday, you and Premier David Makhura briefed the media on Operation Ukaimulao, right, where you detailed how the night before you had arrested about 447 suspects across the province. Do you think that what happened yesterday was in any way, in other words, the way those people who attacked the police responded, was in any way related to Operation Mulawe, or was it a sheer coincidence?
No, I think it was a coincidence, but at the same time, because of the space is getting smaller and smaller for the criminals in Gauteng, so the only way for them is to resist. The only way for them is to respond in a manner in which they've responded. You will see that the way these days we are catching these criminals, they are no longer comfortable. Everything they do it in a hurry. They know that at any given time, the police will pounce on them. That one, I think it was a coincidence, but at the same time, those people, they knew that we are coming.
Of course, I mean, what happened yesterday was caught on camera by I mean, so many people who posted on social media. And of course, it was also on a large scale. But how often do your police get caught in such situations as yesterday? In other words, when they pounce on criminals, then they are met with that kind of resistance. Perhaps all of this happening, outside of or away from the glare of cameras.
Yes, it happened so many times. Even yesterday, in Didier, I've lost a police constable, whereby they went based on information that there is a certain premises whereby they are dealing with drugs. So they went there to search for those drugs. What happened? One of the suspects there, he decided to stab the police officer with a knife here. And that police officer unfortunately lost his life. May his soul rest in peace. So it clearly tells you that the criminals, they are under pressure. They are under pressure here in Gauteng, and the only way for them is to fight back. They are trying to fight back to us, but we won't be deterred. We'll continue to do and execute our mandate within the ambit of the law and ensure that those who are committing crime in this country are dealt with.
I was reading your statement last night after the whole fracas. And one of the things the statement says is that police yesterday had to retreat to avoid a chaotic situation that may have had sort of disastrous consequences. Do you feel restrained as the police? Do you feel that you aren't able to respond to these sort of things the way you would have wanted to?
We value human life. We as the police, we value human life, and we observe the Bill of Rights. And on top of it, it talks about the right to life. So when we operate, we don't say at all costs. We don't go for that. So yesterday, the police officers on the ground, they've read the situation. And they've realized that, you know what, if we can say at all costs, we are going in there, we are going to retrieve those counterfeit goods. Today we'll be sitting with a lot of people dead. And it's something which we don't want as a country. It's August month. You know what happened previous years. We don't want that. So one could imagine if the police officers there didn't retreat and allow all those people to cycle that nyala. Some of them throw that with a petrol bomb. And the only way out for the police officers to escape in that situation, it was to use the live ammunition. And now I'm talking the R5. It means that a lot of people who, by now, dead, many injured, and something which we don't want. To us, it was a good move. And anyway, tactical withdrawal is one of our action mode. When we operate, it's one of our action mode because you read the situation and you check whether it is appropriate for you to be there or to move, to step aside, or you move backward and then you start regrouping and then you move again in. They've done exactly that. They move away and then they came back with the rubber shotguns and then they dispersed those people.
And to people who think, watching the discussions on social media and other platforms, you have people feeling that it sent the wrong signal out there that criminals could easily do as they please.
I feel our community, and I share their sentiment in that when you don't know, these tactical moves of the police, you may think that it is like that. I think I will use this opportunity to assure my fellow South Africans, the people of Gauteng, to say that it was not to say that we are defeated.
But it doesn't mean that they are unprotected.
Yes, we are there for them. And I would like to assure to them that, we are ready and we are prepared to assert the authority of the state. And over and above that, we want to assure the people of South Africa and of Gauteng that we value human life. We don't want many people dying in the hands of the police.
But what are the challenges that you face? The province of Gauteng, in the the last available statistics, murders in Gauteng were at a 10-year high. What are the challenges that you face as you wage this war against criminals?
Yeah, the volumes of crime in Gauteng is still a concern to me and to many people. It's still very high. Even though there are some movement, but it's too early for us to celebrate those movements. But we feel that, the volumes of crime generated in Gauteng is still very high. Violent crime in Gauteng is still a problem. Business robberies, house robberies, street robberies is still a concern to me. Even though we are making inroads, we are arresting these repeat offenders, but it will take us some time until before we can turn the tide. Over and above.
What are your constraints?
No, the constraint, obviously, you will see. I think the National Commissioner has spoken about it, even in Parliament, to say that, the numbers of the police officers we have in the country doesn't equal to the number of people whom we must deal with. We are way low below the acceptable numbers of a police population ratio. So it will remain a concern. Because we don't have money in the country anyway. And again, to recruit a police officer is not something like you'll recruit somebody from the street and you deploy. So when you recruit these police officers, you are still going to spend the whole year training this police officer before you can deploy. And in Gauteng, it's a busy province. Many things happen. And some of the things, they happen spontaneously. You will know of the planned march. You plan for it, you are going to police it. All of a sudden, 5, 6 spontaneous protest action. You need to shift resources from there and deploy there. While you are doing that, there is illegal land occupation. You need to, again, move your resources around. So there's a lot of things happening at the same time here. But we are trying our level best to contain the situation.
Now, calls have been mounting over the past 24 hours. Some people calling for the military to be deployed to assist you. Your thoughts?
I'm assuring the people of Gauteng to say that there's no need for us to deploy the military for now, in that the situation is not totally out of hand. It's not totally out of control, and they must just watch the space. When we respond, we will respond intelligently, so we will know exactly where to hit, and when we hit, it will be visible to everybody that we are acting. We don't want to be emotional when we deal with this thing. We need to be sober, and at the same time, we need not be seen as if it's retribution to the people who have acted like that. No. Our mandate is clear, is to fight crime. We'll go to each and every space where crime is committed. We'll go to each and every space where illegal stuff is being hidden, and we'll act on that. So let them rest assured, let them leave it to us. We will take control of the streets of Gauteng.
And to those hawkers, people like Achib, who say they are law-abiding South African citizens who are trying to eke out a living, but they don't get listened to by the politicians who chase them away from the streets, but they also don't get listened to by police who are supposed to protect them. What should they do? How do they?
My door is open. Like I've said that, earlier in the week, I've met some of the traders in that particular space. They came to my office. We have spent a lot of time. We have agreed that we're going to work together. I also extend that invitation to the workers to say, my door is open. Come and sit with me. Definitely we are going to find a common ground, and we will definitely work together.
Commissioner, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.